Assalamu alaikum. My name is Usama Walid, and today we are going to discuss a very short and a very important topic, and you can say the first topic of embryology, that is spermatogenesis. Before going into the details of the topic, we must know the basic concepts of this topic. There is a word that is gametogenesis, and gametogenesis is basically the formation of gametes, that is basically the haploid sexual cells which basically undergoes fertilization to form a zygote in order to produce a new individual. Males and females both basically produces the sexual cells, and this process of production of sexual cells in both males and females is known as gametogenesis. And in males, particularly the formation of sex cells that are the sperms, that is known as spermatogenesis. If we define it, it is basically the sequence of events by which the spermatogonia are transformed into mature sperms. Means, what is now this spermatogonia? Basically, if you people have an idea of the yolk sac, you know that in the embryonic there is yolk sac. The cells basically migrate from that yolk sac towards the area where actually these male and female sexual organs are going to form, and these cells are basically known as primordial germ cells. And if we talk about specifically of males, these primordial germ cells are known as spermatogonia. If you read, this is what are spermatogonia. These are the primordial germ cells which are present in the seminiferous tubules of the testes. You know, in males, in the testes, these are the coiled tubes which are known as seminiferous tubules, the walls of which contains the primordial germ cells. Always remember, these primordial germ cells, whether in the males or in the females, they are always diploid. Diploid means they have 46 chromosomes, means 23 pairs of chromosomes, or in simple words, the chromosomes are paired. And these cells, the primordial germ cells, are dormant until puberty. When puberty will arrive, then these primordial germ cells will become activated. They will basically undergo repeated mitosis, they will grow, and then this process, which is spermatogenesis, will begin. Now, when puberty arrives, basically the production of testosterone in the testes increases, and under the influence of testosterone, these spermatogonia, which are basically the primordial germ cells, these primordial germ cells will begin to grow under the influence of testosterone, and this basically process of spermatogenesis requires 2 months. After 2 months, a mature sperm will produce. So now basically the most important thing is that you should know the steps of spermatogenesis. Whenever there is a question in prof, you are not supposed to write the details in the paragraphs. No, you are only supposed to write the thing that is merely asked. Now, in order to jot down that mere thing, the point that is basically being asked, you should write in basically in the not in the paragraph form, but in the chart, in the flow chart form. Fine. So you must prefer always the flow chart. So we are going to read this all in the flow chart form. If you see at the very top on the right, this is the spermatogonia. And what is spermatogonia? These are primordial germ cells. Where they are present? They are present in the seminiferous tubules of the testes. They are dormant until puberty. Then when puberty arrives, when puberty period basically comes, what happens? The testosterone production increases, and under the influence, the spermatogonia grows, differentiates, and then it produces the largest germ cell in the male, that is known as primary spermatocyte. Very important MCQs of the prof, that which is the largest germ cell in the males. So that is primary spermatocyte. Now this is the process of mitosis, simple cell division and growth, that actually produces the primary spermatocyte. Now what will happen? This primary spermatocyte, it is mitosis, and in mitosis basically the chromosome number remains same. So this is also diploid, the spermatogonia, and primary spermatocyte is also diploid. Now what will happen? Meiosis process will begin after the formation of primary spermatocyte. Now, primary spermatocyte will produce secondary spermatocyte. And secondary spermatocyte production is basically after the process of meiosis 1. This is known as reduction division. What happens? The chromosome number becomes half. Means spermatogonia have 46 chromosomes, primary spermatocyte have 46 chromosomes, secondary spermatocyte will have 23 chromosomes. Means 23 in one cell and 23 in the other cell. One will have X chromosome, the other will have Y chromosome. Fine. So this is the meiosis 1, or you can say the reduction division. Now, this secondary spermatocyte will then basically be converted into spermatids. Each of these secondary spermatocyte will undergo the second meiotic division, that is basically meiosis 2, which is similar to that of mitosis, and it will produce spermatids. You can say that one spermatogonia will produce one primary spermatocyte, but one primary spermatocyte will produce 4 spermatids. Whereas one secondary spermatocyte will produce 2 spermatids. You should know that one spermatogonia produces 4 spermatids, whereas one secondary spermatocyte produces 2 spermatids. Now, these spermatids are immature cells. They are not able to flow. They are not motile. So what will happen? These spermatids will be converted into spermatozoa, and the process of this conversion, of this transformation, of this sequence of events is basically known as spermiogenesis. So first of all, let's see by the chromosome numbers and diploid and see this. This is the spermatogonium at the very top. 2N means it is diploid, mean 46 chromosomes. It undergoes mitosis, producing primary spermatocyte. What is this primary spermatocyte? That is basically diploid. Now this will undergo meiosis 1, producing haploid cells, secondary spermatocyte. You should know it contains 23 chromosomes. It is written 1N. Fine. So you should know primary spermatocyte is the largest cell. It is basically having 40 chromosomes. It is diploid. Secondary spermatocyte are haploid. It will undergo meiosis 2 to form 4 spermatids, which are also haploid, eventually transforming into sperms, which are also haploid. Always remember that the sex cells are haploid. The 2 sex cells then combine, forming the zygote, which is again diploid. So these sex cells are haploid. Now, what is the difference between this spermatid and this sperm? You should know that the sperm, basically the active, the motile sperm, basically are having the 2 major parts. One is known as head and the other is known as tail. If this is the picture, if you people can see here, at the very top, this is the head and this is the tail. Head, basically at the very in front of the head, there is a circular capsule-like structure known as acrosome. And this acrosome basically contains the enzymes which is important to penetrate into the female sex cell, that is the ovum, that is the egg. This is the acrosome. And behind this head is a short region connecting the head and the tail is the neck. After the neck arises the first part of the tail, that is known as midpiece. Always remember, midpiece contains a large number of mitochondria providing ATP for motility. So midpiece is having a large number of mitochondria. Another important MCQs, that is midpiece having mitochondria. So the second part, that is known as principal piece, and the third part, that is known as end piece. And somehow people refer them as flagellum, and which basically helps them in motility. Fine. So this is basically, if you come back here, you know the very first cell is spermatogonia. It will undergo mitotic division and enlargement, will produce primary spermatocytes, which is largest of all the germ cells. I have told you already. Next, this will undergo meiosis 1, producing secondary spermatocytes, which are smaller than primary spermatocytes. These are haploid. These are formed after first meiotic division. Spermatids, which are formed from secondary spermatocytes after second meiotic division. So you should know, you should be able to make a flowchart so that you people are easily able to grab the concept of this haploid, diploid, the 46, the 20, which are often present in the MCQs. Otherwise, this is a very important SCQ as well. And you should only write down these 3 to 4 names. That's spermatogonia, then primary spermatocyte, then secondary, then spermatids, and then spermatozoa. Now, once these sperms are being formed, now what happens? Basically, this is, let's first discuss the definition. The formation of a mature sperm from a spermatid, as I have already told you, is spermiogenesis. Mature sperm having head, having tail, tail further consisting of 3 parts, middle piece, principal piece, and now the pathway of the sperm from the testes to urethra is basically through epididymis, ductus deferens, ejaculated duct, and urethra. You should only know their names. let me show you with the help of diagram. This is the testis, and this is the epididymis, that is basically a coiled duct that is basically present on the somehow posterior border or posterolateral of the testes. From here it goes in towards the ductus deferens. From the ductus deferens it basically goes eventually into the urethra with the help of ejaculatory duct. Now through its passage from this ductus deferens to the ejaculatory duct and the urethra, there are three main glands which are known as prostate gland, which are known as seminal gland, or you can say seminal vesicle, and bulbourethral gland. If you see here, the bulbourethral glands are also known as Cooper's glands, and these glands are mainly important in the formation of mucus, and mucus is basically lining the urethra. Second is the prostate gland. Prostate gland is basically important in the secretion of alkaline fluid. This alkaline fluid neutralizes the acidity present in the fluid known as semen, that is basically containing the sperms in the males. And then is the seminal vesicle. The seminal vesicle is basically important in the release of fructose. You know that fructose is important, you can say, as glucose. As for the rest of the cells of the body, fructose provides energy to the sperms. So this is another important MCQs, that seminal vesicles releases fructose, and fructose is important energy source of the sperm. So you always remember that is it is fructose, not glucose. Fine. So if you come back here, this is the epididymis, ductus deferens, ejaculatory duct, and urethra, as I have already explained you with the help of this diagram. The last one, the glands, you know, prostate gland, alkaline secretion, urethral gland, mucus secretion, seminal gland. You should only have the overview of this, and mainly you should know the fluid chart formation of this spermatogenesis, and you should know what is spermatogenesis. You should know about the fructose. You should know that it is released by seminal glands. You should know that primary spermatocytes are divided, secondary spermatocytes are divided. So this is all about the spermatogenesis. A short and very important topic, most often asked in the SCQ as well as in the MCQs, and this is all about the spermatogenesis. If you have any problem, please comment, and thank you very much.